Hey, David. Welcome to the Life and Mission podcast.
Kay, it is my privilege and honor to be here with you. I've already told you, you know this, but I'll tell all of the people who follow you. I found you and I stalked you. And the reason that we are friends and the reason we're going to be great friends even in the future, because I've already decided it. I stalked you. I've been listening to your podcast. I've overdosed on, I say overdose, OD. I find people and then I OD on them. And the more I hear and know and learn about you, the more I think, David, that was a great decision to pull Cahill into your life. So it's my honor to be here. I have about 5 people that I've picked. I can tell you who they are. You know them all.
All
They're
right.
big shots, big and amazing people. And I've stalked them all. And I'm almost at the end of pulling them into my life. God has been so good to me. So thank you for letting me be here today. You're one of my heroes. Follow you, and I'm learning from you. I'm learning from you, and I'll keep
Oh, I
learning.
love it. I love it. I've actually done the same thing with you. I've been through your podcast episodes and I get a lot of emails and I don't open them all, but I open all of yours and because it's good stuff. It's good stuff
Thank
and
you.
it's so aligned
I'm
to what we're doing here. So,
I need people like you as thought partners in my life to help me because I just write whatever comes to my gut, whatever I face, and I don't know if it's worth anything. I'm really, as they say, throwing a lot of stuff against the wall, trying to find out what sticks and what actually helps people. Everything that goes through my mind and all my musings are not helpful, Kay. Trust me when I tell you that.
well, I don't think you're alone in that. Sometimes and it's funny, isn't it? How that sometimes the things that you think are at least with me, sometimes the things I worked the hardest on that I
Yeah.
honed and shaped and spent the time on, and I'm really proud of it. Those things like they're just like duds. And then the
It's the
things that you
truth.
just kind of did off the cuff
Popped.
or got
Uh,
surprised by, or you just
yes,
kind of threw
it's
something out there and
yes.
it sticks.
It was a few months ago that I was getting contribution statements in the mail, and
Mhm.
I got one and I ripped it open, and it was the statement, and it showed my monthly giving because I had given not largely. I don't have a lot of money to give, but I gave consistently. And there was just that statement, and it just
Mhm.
struck me as wrong. It looked like somebody would have just at least wrote on the sheet, put a sticky note, or printed a form letter and said, "Hey, thank you for all you did this year." And off the cuff, just off the cuff, I just sat down and wrote just out of the top of my head, don't like never, I don't remember the title, but it was never send out a naked contribution statement.
I
And
remember that.
that's been one of my the people speak back to me about that. And I think, gosh, I've sat down and honed and written, and I've hired a coach to help me to write great posts. Nobody's much responded. And this little thing that was 10 minutes off the cuff, and before I knew better, I pressed send and sent it out to everybody. That's been something that more people have responded. But hey, I heard that. I heard that. So we don't know. We don't
Yeah,
know is what I
it's
hear you
true. It's true.
saying.
And I want to say this early because I don't want people to bail out on this episode because we're going to talk about fundraising. That fundraising is not a bad word, and because
No.
I
Oh my
know
gosh.
I know a
No.
lot of folks that go, okay, it's like a necessary evil. Like we say that about fundraising and marketing,
Yeah.
and I have to tell you, I enjoy both. And
Yes. Yes.
I know you enjoy fundraising and
Fundraising is fun. I say that
see,
fundraising is fun, and I've people just look back at me and they're
it's
just
right. Fun is right
shocked.
in the word.
Yeah, that's so true. I gotta use that. Thank you. I
Yeah,
just got a
it's
little one-liner there. Thank you, Kay. But yes, I say it's fun. We both are great friends with Mary Valoni, and I can never forget the landing pane of her website. I don't know if it's still the same because she just changed it, but it was fundraising just got easy. And I just think, I love you, Mary, but I'm stealing that and I'm going to change it a little. I want my picture to be on my website, and I want it to say fundraising just got fun. It's the most fun thing in the world. I don't know why everybody is not standing in line going, would you please let me? Would you teach me? It's one of the most fun things in the world. It is. It's not hard. It's not hard. It's just fun. I don't know what else to say. That's probably why I have a job, right?
Well, there you go. Yeah. And I mean, and we all have, right, our strengths and our weaknesses, I think, but I think a lot of times we avoid the fundraising part. And a lot of us, I was sharing my story, and one day I'll share it on the whole podcast, but just kind of the short story of getting thrown into this ministry. And I had to learn fundraising because it was necessary for us to see the vision fulfilled. And in our case, we had kids that we needed to provide food
Yes,
for. And
yes,
so
yes.
there was just such a factor of this absolutely has to be done, that it drove me to learn as much as I could about this kind of fundraising and nonprofit
And
world.
the good thing, like you said, don't tune out. The
Yeah.
wonderful, amazing thing about fundraising is it's the same as marketing. You
Mhm.
and I are close friends again with Mike Kim, and I know you're
Mhm.
helping him with his book. But Mike is famous to me. What I can hear Mike's in my head lots of times. I hear, when I just try to do my marketing, but he says, marketing is not about making a sale. Marketing is about opening and nurturing a relationship. And
Yeah.
so fundraising, all that you learned about fundraising that works really was not about getting dollars. It taught you how to have better relationships. And so what I learned from Mike about opening relationships, I just think, oh my gosh, this is fundraising. It is not about getting dollars. It's not about getting money. It's about nurturing relationships. And that makes it easier. It also
Yes.
makes it fun because I love people. Most of us do. And when you have great relationships, it makes every day just a joy to live. If it weren't for great relationships, why would we get up every day and keep going? This world hurts. It will hurt you. Life is tough. Life will hurt you. The one thing that makes it all worthwhile, and they're eternal. I'm a man of faith and you are too, Kay. I get to take my relationships with me to the next life. Oh my God. So we're not just friends for now. Girl, you'll have your own planet one day, and I'll have my own planet one day in the kingdom that never quits expanding. And I'm popping over to Kay's planet today, and I get to keep you forever. That's what fundraising is. It's not about me getting a dollar from you. It's about the relationship that we're going to celebrate eternally. And when I look at it that way, it's not hard. It's not tough. It's fun because it's about how I get to enjoy you and you get to enjoy me.
Mhm.
Okay. That's it. Oh my God. I don't know
Yeah, that's good.
what else in life is worth that much.
It's
It's
true.
wonderful.
And we were talking about marketing a little bit before we hit record too. And for me, that's the whole marketing, and like Mike says, it's building relationship. But for me, it's sharing the stories. I'm kind of
It
on the
is.
story
That's
side of
easy.
it. And it's I love to let me tell you what happened.
That's easy.
You
Actually
know,
fun.
yeah.
Fun. Yeah. Yeah.
It's
So true.
wonderful. Yeah,
So true.
we're doing stuff over in, with our ministry, we're doing stuff in, West Africa and Asia and different places where a lot of the folks that are giving have never been and won't
Yeah.
go themselves. And sometimes we forget that, and we make it only about just the things we're doing, and not about the people we're working with, and not
It's
about the stories that come out
true.
of it.
Oh
And
my
it's kind of, if we
gosh.
broaden that out and say, how can I bring my friends who are giving and help them meet my friends
Ah,
who are on the other end of this training, and who are a part of, like, because we're all part
yeah.
of this thing
Yes, we
together, and
are.
how can I
Oh,
kind of
yes, we
bring
are.
us all together
And
and just make a party.
that's the power of stories. I teach and say that stories are the currency that nonprofit
Yeah.
leaders collect in order to pay their donors. And if you see yourself as a collector of stories and you've got donors that are waiting to be paid, then you work hard to get the stories, and then not just getting the stories, but there is an art and there's a skill to storytelling. And
Yeah.
that's why I'm pulling you into my life, because and again, I teach it and I believe it. I know it. The better you get at being a storyteller, the more money you're going to raise. The greatest
True.
fundraisers are wonderful storytellers. And Kay, we're not telling stories about the carpet we laid in the back of our mission house or the new van that we bought. I know that
Yes.
matters. I know it matters. But honestly, a story about a constituent that gets to ride in that van and the
Yes.
joy on their face, or the pain that we took away from them having to ride in an old jalopy. That story is much more powerful than my story of we got a new van. So I've been on the mission field. I'm on the mission field and I've flown for 18 hours, and I've got in an old jalopy of a van that beat me half to death for another 4 or 5 hours. I'm telling you, there are great stories there if they can be mined. So anyway, how in the world did I go there? I don't know, Kay. I'm full of hot air, and you just get me excited and stoked about fundraising. But storytelling and
Yes.
stories are fun. Stories are
Yes.
easy. Once we start to sort of go into it and learn the craft, and you are an expert. That's why we all need you, Kay, because you are an expert in the craft of
Oh,
storytelling. And if we become better storytellers, and um, I think that's why fundraising feels so dirty, because we think fundraising is about me asking you for dollars. Fundraising is about me telling better stories.
mm-hmm.
What? Are you kidding me? That's easy as pie. If you'd explained it to me that way, I'd have been doing that lots earlier. The better storyteller you become, the more money you raise. It's that simple, that easy. Now, you have a craft, Kay, and people pay you and pay you well to help them with that. So, as nonprofit leaders, as fundraisers, we need to
Fundraisers. I like
understand
that.
fundraisers. I'm funding your bank account for my mission. As fundraisers, when we understand the strategy and the power of great stories, and not just stories, we've got to understand the technique and the craft of storytelling.
Mhm.
Once we understand that, we can give our heart and lives to it, as I have begun to. I'm not an expert storyteller, but I'm making friends who can teach me, and you and Mike Kim, and you're expert. You've learned that craft of storytelling. So, of course, I pulled you. I stalk storytellers, and I'm doing my best to get them in my life. You're one. I want you, and I need you. Fundraising, the fun in fundraising comes when we understand that it's a big gushing river to cross. We look at the river and think, oh, dear God, how can I cross that river? Well, when a guide shows up and says, look, do you see that rock? Yes. Do you see the second rock about halfway through? Yes. Do you see that next rock? Yes. Jump on the first one. When you get on that one, hop to the second one, hop to the third, hop over, you're done. Then suddenly we think, oh my God, now, instead of looking at this horrible raging river, you know what I'm looking at? I'm just looking at that's 3 easy rocks that I'm about to jump on. You know why? Because now I have a guide who's shown me that. So, anyway, I think fundraising, once somebody shows up and guides our focus to those 3 rocks that we can, maybe with just a little effort, maybe they're not so easy, but with a little effort, I can jump to that first
Yeah.
rock. And with some effort and with some guidance, and I can go the other. Then that becomes my focus. There's a raging river there, but I'm not looking at that. That raging river is scary. You
Yeah.
know what? Those 3 rocks, somewhat scary. I could miss somewhat, but
Mhm.
with help, I'm going to focus on those and I'm going to do it. And then it becomes fun. And somebody says, don't you hate fundraising? What are you talking about? Fundraising is jumping on that rock, jumping on that rock, jumping on that rock, hitting the shore on the other side. It's, I'm focused on those rocks and the other side where being fully funded is. And when you get fully funded, oh my goodness, that's a set of glasses that you begin to look at the whole world. You start looking at the kingdom in a whole different way. And when you live with a poverty mindset,
Mhm.
I don't know. It just sort of, we see poverty, we see lack, and we see that there's not enough. And then we begin to act that way. And we just attract people who are struggling also. And it becomes hard. So I don't know, focusing, having a strategy, and then focus on abundance. There's enough money in this world to fund all of our missions dozens of times over.
Yes.
Yes, I can double what I'm doing. There's enough money in the world. Trust me, there's more money than we need, but there's few of us who understand how to get to where it's at. And I think that's why there are so, like they say, it's not crowded at the top, that 1%. There are a few people who have way more money than they'll ever need to eat tomorrow on or to pay the rent. Um, I think if we can understand how to get to that, then we move on up the hierarchy where there is no lack. We don't see it and we don't have it. So fundraising is about relationships, seeing a path, and then just enjoying it along the way, enjoying it along the way. I'm a person of faith. The God I serve, he's not sitting up in heaven fretting over how I'm going to meet my budget. Nope, nope,
Right.
nope. And if I can see the world of the kingdom like he does, I'm going to be going, no problem there. Not a
There you go.
problem there.
That's right. That's right. Before we started, I was going to ask you if what is one other word that you could use instead of fundraising? And my guess is you would say
It can be friend raising,
friend
it can be
raising. Yeah.
relationship maximizing, AKA just how to have more friends in this world, how to give people. This is a fundraising, AKA. These are some good blog posts. Okay, you're helping me.
Good, good.
AKA giving people amazing opportunities to go places all over this world and to kick history in its side and never leave your easy chair. You can do it by just interacting with our mission. Isn't that awesome? I have my own nonprofit, and we're starting a school with Palestinians who don't speak our language, don't know our faith, they don't hold our faith in the Middle East. And I just think, oh my gosh, how often do people in my part of the world, in South Georgia, how often do people in South Georgia get to kick history in its sides? How often do we get to impact history in the Middle East? That's pretty rare.
Yeah.
That's the opportunity I'm bringing to my donors. It's
Oh, good.
historic.
Yes.
You want to
Yes.
make history? Come go with me and bring your checkbook and bring your checkbook. This is, you and I are going to impact history together. This thing's historic. If it wasn't historic, I wouldn't be doing it. If it wasn't changing the world as we found it, you and I are about to correct some injustice. How often do we get to do that? I didn't get to march with Martin Luther King. I want to hope that I would have if I had the opportunity. I want to believe I would have. I don't know. But I'm telling you, I'm not going to miss my chance today to march
Yeah.
with history. I'm marching with history. I'm kicking history in its sides. I'm making history. Fundraising is me bringing you the opportunity to make history.
Yes.
You and I are going to take this world, and together we're going to leave it a better place than we found it. Oh my God, Kay, I'm telling you, right? That makes me want to get my checkbook out right now. That's all I can think of is give me more of those opportunities.
Just show me where to
bring
point
me
this.
that. I bring these opportunities to donors, and you know what they say after they write their check? Thank you. And if you need more, they'll always wink, wink and go, here's what I'm doing. But if you don't meet your goal, when you start getting to the deadline, come back and talk to me, because this has got to be done. This is important, isn't it? And I'll just say, absolutely.
It's important, and I'm in.
I rarely
together.
have to go back to them. I never do, because other people jumped in line and took that chance for them.
I love it. Yeah, it's because that's the difference between coming and kind of feeling, because I've heard people equate fundraising to begging, feeling like we're begging and things like that.
Begging.
And I've felt that way.
I'm not begging.
But if we only come to people when we're kind of at the end of our rope, and
that,
we're desperate,
I call that as a poverty mindset.
Yeah.
You're just at the end.
Yeah.
I'm not pleading. I'm not begging. I am bringing you an opportunity to partner with Providence. If you're not a person of faith, I'll still take your money. I'm giving you an opportunity to partner with the universe. I don't care how you see it. This is important. This is massive. It's awesome. And you know what? I think we probably got a hold of the smallest end of the biggest thing going. Come on, join us. Oh my God, I'd love to have you a part of our team. That's fundraising.
See, a lot of people, I mean, we all want to be part of a winning team.
Yes, we do.
So, I'm a hockey fan. So the trade deadline went past and everybody's, and one of the big things is a superstar player over here is looking for a team that has a chance to win the Stanley Cup, because they've been over here for 6 or 7 years and it ain't happening because this team is just not at that point, but they're seeing their own arc where they're maybe the end of their career. Maybe I got 1 or 2 seasons left. I need to get over here to this team. And people do that with their money. They go, okay, I don't know. I'm kind of getting a sinking ship feeling all the time over here. So we don't want to be.
I don't want to be on that ship.
Hey,
I don't want to be on that ship. I don't want to be on that ship. Give me a ship that pops out on top of the water and skips across the top. Invite me onto that ship. I want one that's just popping over the top of the water. Yeah, give me that ship. Everybody loves a winner. Yeah. Everybody wants to be on a winning team. And so when we offer donors that opportunity, I got a team and we are kicking history in its side. And I have a few opportunities here that you could take advantage of. It's not hard. And people, we're dying for significance. Yeah, we are. It's part of, I don't know, we were put here to make a difference. I do believe that. And when someone offers us that opportunity, I don't turn it down. I don't turn it down. I might not be able to be as large a part as I want to be, but I'm going to be a part. I'm going to be a part. I promise you. I'm going to be on a winning team. I'm going to. You bring a winning team in front of me, I'm jumping on that thing. Absolutely.
Right. So we've sat, we've told the story to the donor. They are like, get me on that boat that's skipping across the water because I want to be on a winning team. And they've written the check, they handed it to you, wink, wink. And then you get that back. And then you say there are 2 words that can make sure that you're never run out of money with your mission.
If you will live it, maximize it, learn the power of it. There are 2 words that'll change your life. There are 2 words that you cannot have great relationships without. And those 2 words are thank you. Okay, you cannot remain married successfully without learning the power of thank you. You cannot raise children that don't hate your guts unless you learn how to maximize the power of thank you. Thank you is the magic word. Thank you lets people know they're significant and they matter and their contributions matter. Saying thank you excellently
Mhm.
will get you all the money that you need. Now, people hear me say that and they're like, my God, if I just go around, okay, so I'll write my donors a thank you note every day. Thank you. Thank you. You got to hear what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Saying thank you excellently.
Yeah.
And saying thank you excellently, Kay, there are so many masterful ways to say thank you. And that's what we want to become, just overdose on that. We want to become experts. And that's what I didn't start out to be the thank you guy, but somehow that is now becoming,
You are. You are.
you know that the thank you, nobody knows David Oaks, but they're like the thank you guy. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. But I didn't start out with that, but it seems to be, it must be a part of my DNA. But, I was having a conversation with, I was on somebody else's show and, he was analyzing my superpower. Apparently there's a book I haven't read yet and it's called A Big Leap. I haven't read it yet, but I don't know if that's what he was coming from. But he said, David, I was telling him, first of all, that when I go to eat in a restaurant, it's important to me. I don't know where I got this from, but it matters and it gets me great service, largely. But when I go in, if I always look for the server's name, if they don't have it identified, I ask them their name. And I know I repeat their name 10 times before I leave. My name is Kay and I'm your server today. Hi, Kay.
Yep.
Thank you for serving us today, Kay. Kay, what would you recommend? Kay, what do most people who come in here brag about? Kay, thanks for serving us. What would you like to do? Here's what I want, Kay. What do they? I'm going to call your name as many times as I can. Now, listen, this is how I view it. And this is the first time I've really, I haven't written this is brand new. I'm putting it on your show. So
Awesome.
now the world's going to know. But when I call your name, it's one of the ways of my acknowledging you and saying, thank you for being alive. And thank you for occupying my space right now, just by me calling your name. Now, for me, Kay, for me, that's a way that I can say thank you for being you. Thank you for being Kay. Now, we're people of faith. Study the scriptures and see how important names are. Everybody, not everybody, but it was a common thing when Jesus met people. He just gave them a new name. I do that a lot too. He gave them his little pet names. My name's Peter. No, you're the Rock. Hey, Rock, come over here. So calling people by their name it's a high form of saying thank you, not for what you've done for me, but for you being you. Okay, I'm getting intoxicated on that thought. Few people understand the power of that. Go study how to make friends and win. Lord, we know this, but we don't work on it to maximize it. But saying thank you excellently. And I remember sharing this on one of our, you and I worked together with Mary Valoni on a team meeting that we were in. I remember her saying, I got a card today and yesterday, and then I got another card today. It almost feels like, it's like, can you go too far? You can't go too far in saying thank you excellently. Can I stalk you? Well, goodness gracious, yes. I don't call that saying thank you, but there are systems and strategies that we can learn that maximize the power of thank you. And I often talk about, and it's one of the main things that I teach is, what do you do when someone gives to your organization for the first time. And I just had a missionary because I was on a show with Mary Valloni. You and I both were just the other day.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm getting responses from missionaries all over the world. And they're saying, how often should I write my donors and say thank you? Should I write a personal note every month? And I just said, I don't think they're expecting that, but choose special moments when someone gives a gift to you for the first time. Are you kidding me? Again, go study first things in the scripture. We're people of faith. Every time something was done for the first time, go study that thing. There's some principles there that you can learn. It's called the principles of first things in scriptures. So anyway, you don't want to write them every day. I'm sure that if that would work, missionaries would just do that and they'd be fully funded. But find strategic opportunities to say thank you excellently.
Yeah.
My kids I've raised children. When they did their chores, I didn't every single day say thank you and write them a thank you note. Thank you for doing your chores. I did find some strategic times to pull them aside for things that they had to do. They were their responsibility and their chore. And I said, here, you clean your room, you do this, you do that, you take out the garbage, here's what you do in the yard. And pine cones is a big deal down here in the South. You can't even mow, you can't walk for pine cones everywhere. Here's what you do. And I just want to say, you do it without me asking you. You also do a good job. You make me feel great. I'm proud. I just want to say, I notice it. Thank you. And I think a lot of pastors are the worst. Okay. I can talk about them because I've been one all my life. Pastors are the worst people at recognizing financial contributions because they're like, well, money, I don't have, I let the deacons do that. You're hurting yourself. You're passing up an awesome opportunity to strengthen some relationships with people who have spiritual gifts. Giving to spiritual gift, according to the scripture.
So that, yeah.
You're passing up a wonderful opportunity to interact people with spiritual gift. Mm-hmm. You're passing up an opportunity to maximize a relationship that could prove to be strategic, if I can tell you the truth. You're passing up these opportunities. And also years ago, John Maxwell, I remember this is one of my first eye-opening experiences. I used to go wherever John Maxwell was. He is a pastor in San Diego. And he just said, if you are not a key player in funding the vision, pastor, you don't have the right to direct and to write that vision. Pastors all day long go to churches and say, here's what we're going to do. And the deacon boards are like, no, we're not. No, we're not. I'm going to tell you who gets to set the vision, whoever funds it. And John Maxwell said, I go out and I meet with 10 donors and I finance what I want to do. Then I go to the deacon boards, tell them what I want to do. And they'll say, that's going to cost too much money. And he said, then I say, I've already got the money for it. Then what do they say? They shut their mouths. So pastors are the worst at fundraising. Pastors don't say thank you excellently. Does it mean stalking people? No. It just means finding ways, instituting systems, just learning to say thank you. And it goes all the way back to, I consider calling a person by their name. I consider that one of the single highest forms of saying thank you on this earth. I do believe that, and I try to practice it. That was a lot of hot air. Hey, Kay, you just get me so pumped and I can't hush. You need to close out the podcast. It's okay. I'm just full of hot air. But you start talking about fundraising, thank you, and it being fun and relationships. I can't stop. I can't hush. Forgive me, please.
That's why I wanted to have you on. No, I was like, this will be the easiest interview I've ever done. I'll just throw one question out there. And
I'll talk for 20 minutes and you think, will he ever hush?
This is awesome. And it's good stuff. When you talk about saying people's names, And I think about the number of letters and thank yous even that I've gotten addressed to dear donor
Oh my God.
or dear friend.
I got a form letter that was all written out and copied. One spot was left blank, and it was dear, and there was a spot there. And the precious nonprofit person wrote in with an ink pen, David. So I get, we used to call it mimeographed,
Yeah.
a copied letter
Mhm.
that was just made for everybody. I don't know whether he did it. I don't know whether he just got a teenager to say, I'll give you $5 if you'll take all of these letters. Here's a list of names. Write David, Sam, Mark. I,
Mhm.
I don't know. I just chunked it in the garbage, and I did not give because
Yeah.
they didn't call me by name.
Yeah, and there
Okay.
are systems that will do that for us. And
They're too
I know
easy to
sometimes
learn.
we get busy, we get or we're not maybe tech savvy, but that's a great opportunity to pull somebody into your ministry for 10 minutes to set that up for you. You know,
Pay the money, put it in
yes.
the budget, and pay someone to set up. If you don't know how to do it, it's worth paying someone. And
Mhm.
it used to be Word documents. It was a mail merge. I don't know that the new things do. I don't know today, but you can do a mail merge. You can, I don't know what it's called in all of the, in MailChimp and all of the CRMs, but it's too easy for it to be
Yeah.
done for you not to use it.
It's kind of the
Call
low bar
donors,
now. So if you're not
call donors
personalizing
by their
that
name. You do,
first line.
you can do no one a greater
Mhm.
honor than to call them by name. And when you don't, you've hurt yourself.
Yeah.
You've hurt yourself, and you are hurting yourself. And then the work that you were put here on this earth to do, it doesn't get done. And you know, I've worked in church all my life, and the old timers used to say, you know, if you don't do what God's called you to do, He'll just raise up somebody else to do it. I found that not to be true. If you don't do what you were put here, ordained by God to do, if you don't do what you're put here to do, here's what I found: it doesn't get done.
Mhm.
It doesn't get done because there's only one of you, and only you can do what you're put here and so gifted to do. Everything you've been put here to do, you got the gifts. They're in there. Yes, they are. Yeah, they're there.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so we develop, one of those things is doing those little things that we know to do. And like I said,
Yeah,
we were talking before we hit record that, there are those things. We all have things that we know we're supposed to do, and then we don't
yeah.
do them. But what is one small thing somebody can put into practice today to get those thank yous out, to just, if they could just change one thing, and that one thing was going to be to make sure I'm thanking people excellently, what's that first
Yeah.
step they could take?
I would, I make a big deal out of that first gift. So just make it a law for you as a missionary, for you in an organization. This can even be practiced in business. You're not going to write a thank you note to every customer you have, but I can tell you that likely 80% of your income is coming from 20% of your customers. You ought to know those people by name. So anyway, number one, make it a rule. We call this a system, right?
Mhm.
When someone gives for the first time, it's always acknowledged in special ways. And that can be with you giving a phone call, you sending a text, you having an interaction with that donor. It can be with you involving your board. You have a fundraising team. Get a couple or three people who will help you, and then teach them how to write that note. The note ought to say, I serve on the board. I serve on a team with Kay Helm, and she was bragging on you today. Welcome to the giving community. We're a close family, and having you here makes it special. I can't wait to get to know you more. So celebrate a first gift. Celebrate it. Now, whatever that means to you, do it. Just do it. And then, I don't know, mark it on your calendar 1 year out. Put a task on your CRM, put it on your Google Calendar, put it on somehow in 1 year, put a task that pops up and tells you 1 year ago, David Oakes gave his first gift. And then spend the time to work on that letter. Send me a letter and say, David, hard to believe it was 1 year ago you gave your first gift. Happy birthday, dude. And then maybe give me a story since the time you gave your first gift in the last year. Here's how many people you touched. Here's what you accomplished. Here's why your giving matters like crazy. And having you come on board meant the world to us. And that's why, we went nuts over you. But that's two things that you could do as a first-time donor, and then mark it 1 year out. Those are two dates that you can make special. I don't know. Those are two easy things to do. Maybe they gave that first time and they didn't give again. Only 19 out of 100 donors to nonprofits here in this country ever give a second gift. 1 year is not too late for me to get that letter, for you to treat me like I was amazing, and for you to brag on my generosity. You know what I might do in a year if I haven't done it? You might get my second gift 1 year after you got my first one. And you know what? If someone ever, studies tell us, this is science, Kay. Studies tell us that if you can get me to give that second gift, the chances are through the roof that I'll give a third, a fourth, and that I will even include you in my estate plan. That's where the big dollars are. If you can get that second gift. So there's two practical things, two practical ways that you can do immediately. If I have a download that you can give to the people who listen to your show from me, and it's my most downloaded asset. And all it is, I don't say all it is, I've put some hot air in there for me, but it's just copies of some notes that I've written.
Yeah. So and it's good because I've been to your website and I've downloaded that.
Your people that are listening, I'm going to tell you, Marissa Nelson had me on her show, and she's like, the financial guru. She's not a nonprofit. She actually does have a nonprofit, but that's not what she's at. That's not the tile she hung out. But Marissa's like, David, I took your stuff and I went right to my team and she said, do you know that my people have to sign up and study your stuff now? They have to. It's part of working for her. So I'm like, oh my goodness. So this is helpful. Just knowing, I don't know. I've collected. I don't know why it mattered to me, but it did. But I have a file over there in my cabinet where I keep thank yous that mean something to me. I don't know. You send me a thank you and it moved my heart. Tell me the hardest thing for me to do is to throw that thing away. I save them. Now you send me a thank you that doesn't touch my heart. Okay. Thank you. And it's right in the garbage. But I've collected great thank you notes and I've sort of studied, why does one impact me and the other one does not? So that download, I do give some strategic pointers in how to make your thank you more effective. And you want to give the kind of note that your donor, make it hard for people to throw your notes away. I'm telling you, make them feel guilty like crazy for throwing your cards away. Give them something that moves them. So I'll give you that link and you can offer it to the listeners of your show. I'd love for them to have it. And I get people responded to me because of that one free thing that I give away. I get more response from that than any other thing that I've put out there, is just writing a great thank you note. And it's not just nonprofits. As I said, business people have grabbed it. And for that, your 80-20 rule, for that top 20%, if there's any customers you don't want to lose, it's the 20% of people that bring in 80% of your revenue. And for missionaries and for nonprofits, usually the Pareto principle, that 80-20 rule is usually, it's still true. There, you got your top 20%. Yeah. And you want to make sure you write great notes. You want to notice, you want to catch them doing good, and make sure you notice them and call them by name and give them that gift.
In that 1 year letter, that 1 year thank you that you just talked about, one of the things that you did because you just spoke out kind of a text that you might use in that letter. And this is another reason you need to grab this download from David, is he does this. You do this, you kind of naturally do it. And I teach it to people all the time, is now what you've done, instead of sending them a letter and saying, dear donor, thank you for your gift of blah, blah, blah.
Thank you for buying the van.
Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And here's what we did. You're including them. You're saying your gift, and I don't care if it was $5, your $5,
heck yeah,
accomplished this thing. Your $5 fed children. I mean, I used to do this. $5 can go a long way. And it's important, and you are a part of it, and it's including the people in the story. And so I always tell us, get the we're doing this, I'm doing this, kind of get that language out of the letter and make it all about that donor.
It was taught to me, and it just revolutionized my letters. After you write your letter, print it out, and then set it on the table in front of you, and take a little red marker, and everywhere you've got I, circle it. Everywhere you have we, circle it. Everywhere you have us, circle it. Everywhere you have the name of your organization, circle it. Then, just on your word processor, it won't make sense, but everywhere you've got I, put you. Print it out, and then rearrange that sentence and make it fit, instead of because of, thank you for your money. With your money, we preached, we ministered, we fed, we housed, we educated. Take we out. With this gift, you fed homeless people. Thank you for your gift. You educated. You brought girls out of the sex trade. Oh my God. And if you can give them some, another thing I teach is to give people a problem they can solve. If you can give them some piece of the puzzle that they actually did with that amount of money, it helps them to see a clearer picture of what they did. Let's just say, with my organization, I can feed the homeless and it costs me 99 cents per meal. Then if I can help you to see that every 99 cents fed a meal, what do I feel like when I give $5? Pretty good.
Yep.
That even motivates me to want to give 100. How many people am I feeding? This is awesome. So if you help them to see, just calculate some sense of, we help 1,000 kids come out of the industry in a year's time, and we estimate the cost to be. Give them something that is small enough that they can say, I did that. If you say there's 1 million homeless on the streets of our city, and could you just give some small thing to help us? Uh, that's a problem I cannot solve.
It's
I cannot
overwhelming.
fix that.
Yeah.
Let me buy a meal. Let
Mhm.
me pay for a class. Let me, if you're buying, I don't know, uh, give me some piece of the puzzle that I can personally accomplish and give me the good feelings that come with accomplishing that. I'm more likely to give even larger. And sometimes organizations, they don't want to do that because they're like, if I tell them it only costs us 99 cents to feed someone a meal, they're liable to give less. Actually, it has the opposite effect. It makes them want to do more.
Mhm.
So somehow find a way to calculate a part of the problem that you solve and allow the donor the opportunity to totally fix it. Give me a 99-cent meal. I'm liable to feed your people for a month. I mean, I might have the capacity to do that. And if I do, I'll be motivated to do it.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. So that's a big deal.
Yeah, that's good. That's huge.
Okay,
Wow.
let's just get out of here and
I
go
know.
raise some money
We
for
could
some
talk
amazing
all day.
projects.
Yeah, but
Whoa!
yeah.
I'm like,
Well,
what are we doing sitting here? We could be out
let's go change
changing
the
the
world.
world right now.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, we'll have to have you back and talk some more. We'll go into more details on things, but really do that. Check the show notes. I'll have the download there. We'll get you connected with David. David, real quick though, what's the best way that people can connect with you?
You know what? The easiest way right now is becoming Instagram. I never did social media before, but I'm doing Instagram. I'm trying to document what I do just because it's like,
Yeah.
how do you create stuff to put on social media? My God, I'm tired of even thinking about that. Every day, I'm just going to give you a snippet of something I'm doing in my day. I'm on Instagram. Now, you can also find me on Facebook. And if you connect with me there, I do check Facebook, and you can connect with me there on Messenger. You can find me on LinkedIn. To be honest, I forget to even go there and check it for weeks at a time. But Instagram and Facebook are probably the easiest way to connect with me. You want to get some downloads, then you can go to my website. It's wsdevelop.com. That's short for World Stage. It's just what I called my company when I started. You can go there. But anyway, you can start on Instagram. You can find out what I'm doing. I'm always putting it on there. And I think that's that's what I'm telling people. Heck, just go to find me on Instagram.
There
You
you
can find
go.
me
We'll
there.
have the links in the show notes so people can pick that up really
Great.
easily.